Hello there, welcome back to my channel, and I hope you've been having a lovely Lorne so far. What is Lorne, you may ask? Well, allow me to explain. Lornemas is the day our God and Savior walked into a house ready to have sex with a child, only to be righteously caught and put in jail. On his birthday no less. Lorne is the 29 days preceding that day, where Lorne talked to the child he was gonna have sex with. Now some of you may be asking, well that's fine and all, but who is Lorne Armstrong? Well, luckily for you, I have a full series going over this man, and if you don't want to spend 8 hours of your life, then you can watch this quick recap version I made so you're at least caught up. Just for the occasion, I decided to break my year-long hiatus from Lorne to jump back in it one more time and discuss some new things, some old things, add to the series, and have fun while doing so. Today, we're going to start simple and just talk about Lorne's lawsuit, or Lullsuit because it's a complete joke. It's really interesting when locales and the law meet each other. On one end, you have these people who live very unruly lives, often creating their own world in their head and avoiding harsh truths about themselves. And then, they're forced to confront something the opposite of them, something that is incredibly rigid and strict, like the legal justice system. So way back in time, between 2007 and 2012, Lorne was sitting in prison for the crimes he committed. Instead of just moping around in prison though, he decided to read up on the law because he thought he was wronged. Of course, Lorne is insane and everything is against him, but he thought he was truly screwed over, so he decided to sue NBC Universal Inc. By the way, this whole sting operation that did Lorne in was a three-way job. Like, you had perverted justice who gets the predator in the house, NBC films it and puts all the cameras in the house, as well as provide a host and airs it on TV, and then you have the police department in the area of the sting. I'm saying this now because although Lorne said that he's suing NBC, he actually criticizes all three of these parties within his lawsuit. A good place to start would be his statement of claims, where Lorne clearly lists out how his rights were violated. Injury to rights. On October 18, 2007, NBC held a sting in Bowling Green, Kentucky, and had lured Lorne Armstrong to the sting house after Mr. Armstrong had already told them no. We're on the very first sentence and it's already on a bad start. Mr. Armstrong never told them no. It's nowhere in the chat log, and there's even proof of him being very excited for the meetup. Also, I don't like the word lure here. We know what Lorne is trying to get at here, that perverted justice entrapped him, but it doesn't seem like they did. He talked sexually first and continued when notified of Kayla's age. Armstrong had begun talking to Decoy on September 17, 2007 in an adult chat room and tried to befriend her and protect her. Lorne wasn't trying to befriend or protect Kayla. He gave off that illusion for sure, but it was obvious what he wanted. If that was the case, and Lorne was telling the truth, then why did he go on to contradict himself? He wanted to protect her, but then put her in danger, as Chris Hansen once said,
"You're one of those weirdos."
Also, I find it funny that decoy and adult are in quotations. Lorne didn't know that Kayla was a decoy until he got to the house, and it doesn't matter if the chat room was adult or not, he still engaged in predatory behavior. They eventually convinced Armstrong to go to the sting house and was interviewed by Chris Hansen before being arrested by Kentucky Bureau of Investigation. No one convinced Lorne to come into the sting house. He came by himself of his free will. The events from the sting has caused Armstrong to develop depression and emotional distress disorder, and was placed on Elavil, then Prozac, and while at the Kentucky State Reformatory, was placed in a special living unit to help deal with the new illness. There's nothing factually wrong with this statement, but it's still stupid. If you got caught doing what Lorne did and then got arrested for it, you'd probably be really depressed too. NBC's actions from the sting on the defendant's birthday, October 18, 2007, as planned by NBC, has caused these mental and emotional conditions Armstrong now has. NBC did not plan to have the sting on your birthday. He's either really self-centered or delusional to think that they organized a full sting operation on his birthday just to mess with him. Wow, we are on a really bad start here. I just want to point out how we shifted parties like I said we would. Like, we started on perverted justice and how his initial meetup was wrong, but then we transitioned to NBC and the production of the sting. Hopefully the next section goes better for you, buddy. Number 2, media ride-along. On October 18th, 2007, the media, NBC, was at the Sting house, in the police car as they took me to the sheriff's department and at the search of my truck, recording without suspects' knowledge that they would be present before signing the consent to search form. They were not to have the media present in the police car on the way to the sheriff's department and at the search of the suspect's truck. I'm not sure if he has any ground for this claim. If I were to guess, I don't think it's illegal to film someone committing a crime, but I could be wrong. We also randomly switched from the third person to the first person, back to the third person, which is kind of annoying. Evasion of privacy. On October 18th, 2007, NBC was present and recording the interior of suspect's truck during the search. They were also in suspect's face with the camera with police consent during the search. Media was not supposed to be in suspect's face with camera and was not supposed to be present in recording the interior of suspect's truck. This is the same point as the last one, just expanded on a bit. Basically, Lorne is mad that NBC recorded the search of his vehicle. Number 4. Unreasonable search and seizure. On October 18th, 2007, the police had NBC present and recording the search of suspect's truck without suspect's consent and without informing suspect the media would be present in recording. Police were supposed to inform suspect of media being present before he signed the consent to search form, but they never did. Kinda the same point as before, it's just that if NBC were to record him, they should have let him know this before he signed his consent to search form. 5. Overly intruding into law enforcement operation. On 10/18/07, NBC pursued Bowling Green Police Department, or KBI, to let them become active participants in the Bowling Green, Kentucky sting operation by letting Chris Hansen interview suspect before police arrested and interviewed, and also to assist in getting footage for the TV show To Catch a Predator. NBC was present for commercial programming only. Now this is a good one. Okay, so this is where Lorne tries to pull up the case with Bill Conrad in order to win his suit. If you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, Conrad was a district attorney who got caught on the show as a child predator. When he didn't arrive at the Sting house, they showed up at his home and he killed himself when the cops entered. His sister then tried to sue NBC, and a lot of her cases were dropped, but she did get one of them going. She claimed that NBC had a hand to play with how the cops handled the situation, as NBC made the cops act in unnecessary ways for entertainment value. That's pretty much what Lorne is getting at too, particularly by letting Chris Hansen interview Lorne before he got arrested. There's a big problem with this though. Lorne didn't have to give the interview. He could have just left. Also, it wasn't really an interview. Chris was just asking him questions to understand what brought him here. 6. Zones of privacy. On October 18, 2007, while Lorne Armstrong was arrested, handcuffed, and in a police car, NBC media was also in the car recording him on camera. Also, NBC's camera was in Armstrong's face during the search of his truck, to the point that the camera almost touched his face. Media was not supposed to be as close to suspect as they were. I don't know if he has a point, but this is pretty funny. 7. Harassment. On unknown date to suspect, but after 10/18/07, NBC Dateline put a link on their website to Perverted Justice website so the public can see the conversation between suspect and decoy. The conversation has yet to be removed. Armstrong is being harassed in this manner. This is stupid, and it's not harassment. They just put a link to the chat log on their website. You would have to claim that the publisher, Perverted Justice, is harassing you, which they aren't. 8. Intentional disclosure of private facts. On a date plaintiff does not recall, but 2 or 3 months after 10/18/07, NBC aired the segment of To Catch a Predator from the Bowling Green, Kentucky sting. On that segment, NBC disclosed parts of the conversation between suspect and decoy. The conversation was part of the suspect's criminal discovery and was supposed to be confidential information. Suspect has not been convicted of anything at the time. This violated suspect's confidential right to confidentiality. Wait, what? This could be a good point. Maybe they should have waited until his trial was over. 9. Intentional intrusion on right to be left alone. Between 9/17/07 and 10/18/07, suspect had told decoy no when she asked him about meeting in person. Decoy knew suspect's vulnerability and continued to play on his emotions and pressure him to go to the sting house. If not for the greed of NBC wanting ratings and Perverted Justice being paid by NBC, the plaintiff would never have been caught up in the sting. Suspect/plaintiff had already told Decoy no to the meeting until she was 18 years of age. There was no need for Decoy to continue pressuring him to meet. Again, Lorne didn't tell the Decoy no. The Decoy did not know that he was vulnerable. The Decoy didn't pressure him, and Lorne never mentioned her being 18. So I never understood the point of NBC doing it for money. We live in a money world, so doing something for money doesn't make it bad. Doing something just for the money can be seen as a bad trait, but Lorne would have to prove that. Number 10. Violating journalistic code of ethics. On 10/18/07, NBC showed no regard for any of the journalistic code of ethics by producing the television show To Catch a Predator. These code of ethics were made to help keep an honorable and respectable system within journalism. By violating these codes, a journalist also violates a person's constitutional rights to privacy. He didn't list off any code violations, but I'll just say that he wanted to keep this brief. 11. Deliberate indifference. On 10/18/207, NBC persuaded police to engage in arrest tactics for dramatic effect to make sensational television footage in a manner that broadcaster knew would humiliate suspect being arrested. Suspect's rights were violated by turning an arrest into a staged performance for television entertainment. This goes back to the whole Louis Conrad thing, and Lorne might have a point here, I don't really know. 12. Negligence. On 10/18/2007, NBC neglected all the civil rights violations that the show performed, from the lawsuit by the sister of a victim of NBC's that committed suicide because of To Catch a Predator show. NBC showed no care for the victims and performed another show in Bowling Green, Kentucky. This violated constitutional rights of the new victims preyed upon by neglecting to care about civil rights. This one is kinda weird. I think he's saying that the Conrad lawsuit set a legal precedent, and them conducting the Bowling Green sting was a violation of that precedent. Next comes the statement of facts, where Lorne rehashes everything he just said, but expands on it and provides more details. I'm not going to read it all because it's just going to be the same points we went over, but longer. But just looking at the first page, I saw a lot of things wrong, so I might as well go over that. This whole first paragraph is weird, because not only does he say he had good intentions, which he didn't, but Lorne only mentions the good that he did, which is warning Kayla of internet predators, but he surprisingly doesn't mention him being a child predator himself. Lorne initiated sex talk first, not the Decoy. Kayla did bring up perverts first, but this was quickly and poorly answered. Then they dropped the topic completely, and Lorne brought it back up. So yes, that also means that the Decoy didn't keep it on sexual topics after she asked about perverts. I don't recall which one brought up meeting the other first, but I do know that Lorne didn't say that he'll wait until she's 18. Lorne expresses that he wishes Kayla was 18 and says that Kayla can't get married to him until he's 18, but sex and meetups were still on the table. When did this happen? After Lorne and Kayla made the plans to see each other, he was counting down the days. This is also incorrect. Lorne hasn't suffered any financial or mental abuse. Quite the opposite. Also, even if this was true, Kayla wouldn't have known about this until later in the chat log, because that's when they finally talk about something other than sex. Again, you're delusional. It wasn't planned to be on your birthday. Well, this was fun, but we're not done yet. We have to see how the other party responded. Plaintiff Lorne Lynn Armstrong claims that he suffered damages as the result of NBC Universal's 2008 broadcast of a news report about adults using the internet to engage in sexually explicit chats and arrange sexual encounters with young girls and boys, the Dateline Report or report. Plaintiff claims that he has suffered great mental and emotional problems as a result of the libel, slanderous, and defamatory accusations. However, he does not, because he cannot, assert a claim for libel or slander because he cannot identify any false and defamatory statements in the Dateline Report. Indeed, plaintiff admits that he conversed with the person he believed to be a 13-year-old girl in an internet chat room, traveled from Nashville, Tennessee to Bowling Green, Kentucky to meet with her, and was ultimately arrested and convicted. Instead, plaintiff claims that his civil rights were violated under 42 U.S.C. in 1983 and asserts state law claims for invasion of privacy, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and negligence. Wow, that was pretty good. What NBC is saying is that although Lorne feels hurt, it isn't because of the lies NBC spread, because NBC didn't spread any lies. Both parties agreed to the fact of the matter, and NBC just aired that fact on TV. Before NBC Universal was served with the complaint, this court dismissed plaintiff's Section 1983 claims on the grounds that they are timed barred. The court allowed plaintiff's remaining state law claims to proceed, but stated that the court has made no finding that they are timely. I have no idea what this says, but it sounds like Lorne just ran out of time to actually sue anyone and have a legitimate case. They say this outright in the next paragraph. NBC Universal respectively submits that plaintiff's state law claims for invasion of privacy, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and negligence are also timed barred. These claims are all based on the allegations that plaintiff suffered injury as a result of the broadcast of the Dateline report and the publication of the report online. Because the injury for plaintiff's tort claims springs from the publication of the report, these claims sound in libel and slander, are subject to the 1-year statute of limitations for such claims. Plaintiff's negligent claims should be dismissed for the independent reason that it is governed by 1-year statute of limitations for negligence under the Kentucky law. So they just said again, and they really want to hammer this point across because it's a good one, that since Lorne can't prove that the NBC show is libel or false, he doesn't have a lot of basis on any of his claims. Okay, now we're gonna skip around because we know what NBC is getting at. Plaintiff's allegations make it clear that he seeks to recover for injuries allegedly caused by the broadcast of the Dateline report. Among other things, plaintiff asserts that the broadcast of the report has caused the public to always see him as a sexual predator and has ruined his childhood dreams of becoming a country music star, and that the worldwide viewing of the show has ruined his reputation of being a loving, caring, hardworking, law-abiding citizen of the United States. He further alleges that the show's libel, slanderous, and defamatory accusations have caused great mental and emotional problems that he will constantly wonder when passing someone on the street or when meeting someone new if he will be recognized from the worldwide viewing of the show. Plaintiff does not allege any harm that does not result from the report. All of the alleged harm he seeks to redress through this action flows from the world viewing of the show and defendant's purported libel and defamatory accusations. I thought this was funny to read because of the quotes, but NBC's point, I believe, is again that Lorne doesn't claim that the report was bad. The report was correct, and all of the harm from said report isn't what's bothering him. It's what people are going to think about said accurate report that got him worried. And as NBC stated, no one really cares if you feel bad that everyone knows that you're a sexual predator. Plaintiff's allegations of injury specific to his remaining causes of action also make it clear that those claims spring from the publication of the report and thus are governed by the 1-year statute of limitations for libel and slanderous claims. For example, plaintiff bases his IIED claim on the allegation that Dateline posted a link to the website that posted his conversation with the person he believed to be a 13-year-old girl for the sole purpose of enabling public to view contents of conversation between suspect and decoy, and complains about the exposure and publicity resulting from the publication of the report online. Similarly, plaintiff's claims for intentional disclosure of private facts is based on the allegation that Dateline published his conversations with the person he believed to be an underage girl on national/worldwide television and internet website before the suspect has ever been convicted of a crime. He also claims that Dateline used the information it gathered in connection with the Dateline report to intentionally make the suspect look guilty in the public eye by placing those specific portions of the suspect's discovery on their television show and the internet for the whole world to see. There could be no doubt that the plaintiff's claims are based on the publication of the Dateline report on television and online. Plaintiff does not allege any injury that does not arise from the report. His claims therefore sound in libel and are barred from the 1-year statute of limitations governing libel and slander claims. Plaintiff's claims for negligence is also time barred under KY, Rev, Stat, and 413.140, which specifically provides that negligent actions are subject to a 1-year statute of limitations. I got it. I know what it says, I think. So Lorne's injuries, like his depression, are from the publication of the report. But if that's the case, then Lorne can't sue because he ran out of time. That's pretty much it for NBC's claims, so you don't have to listen to my uninformed opinion on the law. But hey, maybe some of you can shed a light on this and tell me how wrong I am in the comments. I honestly just cared about Lorne's claims and breaking that down, but I decided to throw in the NBC claims as well just to make a fuller picture. Before I go, let me read you one last thing from the Lullsuit. This is a letter Lorne sent to Judge Russell in 2015, still trying to fight in his lawsuit. I did read a section of this in my second video in the series, but this time let's take more of a critical eye and back things up using the chat log. Dear Honorable Thomas B. Russell, I apologize for not responding to the United States response motion. I did not know that I had the option. I had hired a lawyer and he did the first motion that I put in. I had to put it in as a pro se because the lawyer that I hired left the firm he was employed with and moved out of state. If I had known I had that option was available to me, I would have responded. I know the order has been made and sent to the 6th Circuit Court of Appeals, but I would be a fool to still not send at least a letter on my own behalf. After all, it is my life that we are dealing with, and I don't take it lightly, especially when it comes to a charge like this. The United States continuously mentions the condoms, the camera, and the gift that I had brought to the Sting House. This is the first time I am responding to that. The condoms were in my truck because I used to go to karaoke bars in Nashville a lot because my dream was to make it in country music. It would be ignorant to not have condoms when going to bars. While it is true that Lorne would go sing karaoke at bars, it is explicitly stated by Lorne that he will bring condoms with the purpose of using them with Kayla. Also, grammar. The camera was in my truck because I had tried to pawn it at 3 different pawn shops in Nashville, Tennessee on Nolensville Pike. None of them would take it because of the duct tape on the back that was there to hold the cover in place. I had told the federal investigator that was initially working on my case with my first federal lawyer, but he never bothered to do any investigating, even when the United States threatened me that they would add attempted production of child pornography, which holds up to 30 years if I didn't accept the plea agreement that was offered. So this one confused me at first, because I didn't know if we were talking about a webcam or if we were talking about a photography-like camera. Turns out that it doesn't matter which one I choose, Lorne is still wrong. If we go with a webcam, Lorne in the chat log says that he will buy Kayla one so he can see her at home just like how Kayla can see his dick all the time. This webcam comes up again when Lorne is trying to get Kayla to wake him up for a job interview. Lorne expresses how important this interview is because, without a job, he can't buy the stuff he was gonna buy Kayla: pizza, a bracelet, and a cam. If we go with the other interpretation, and that it is a photography type camera, Lorne has expressed that he wants to take pictures with Kayla and take pictures of their sexual parts, so Lorne is double screwed. Also, you didn't have to accept the plea deal. Also, grammar. As for the gift, excuse my language to the court, but the gift was crap. Them, meaning NBC and their employees, Perverted Justice, had asked me to bring a gift. So I believe that the gift is referring to the bracelet, but let's pretend that it doesn't for a second. The word gift is nowhere to be found in the chat log, but the word present is. Every time they talk about presents, Kayla never asks for one. She just asks if he got her something. The reason why I thought the gift wasn't the bracelet was because Lorne said that the gift he was getting Kayla was going to stay a secret. But with how Lorne groups these things in the letter, camera, condoms, gift, it's safer to assume that the bracelet is the gift. And if that's the case, then Lorne did say that he was going to bring a bracelet without Kayla asking for it. The reason was because he was going to keep a pair of her panties, so it felt right for him to find a trade-off. The United States also states in a roundabout way that my mental state of mind was fine. If my mental state of mind was fine, then I would never have given away 3 truckloads of tools and sold my house for $8,000 after having over $60,000 into it and moved away where I had no family to finally, at the age of 36, pursue my childhood dream. I also never would have been diagnosed with depression a short time after being in jail. My original lawyer would have known about that had he ever bothered to check. Even after I told him about that, the jail psychiatrist put me on Prozac for depression. Wait, what? Does this sound contradictory to you? Like in 2011, he was in Tennessee because he wanted to pursue his passion in country music. He made it sound like he willingly threw away some big opportunities to go to Nashville. Like it's a dumb dream, but he's gonna try to make it work. In this letter though, he sounds like the victim. Oh, my country music dream was stupid, and it was clear that I was mentally ill because I tried to pursue such a stupid dream. Because of losing my hired attorney, I asked the court to allow my case to be put on hold for 6 months so I can rebuild my finances and search for another attorney. I have found new evidence and cannot proceed with the new evidence without an attorney. So that I do not leave the United States blind to this letter, I will also send them a copy as well. I thank the court for its time in reading this letter, and once again, apologize for not being aware of my right to respond to the United States motion. Sincerely, Lorne Armstrong. Alright, that's it for me today. If you want to read all of the legal documents yourself, then they are all in the description below. There is a lot of stuff in there, so I hope you do have a good read. I hope you enjoyed your time. Happy Lorne, and I will see you tomorrow.